AI has opened up opportunities to do things that previously were not possible. But just because it's possible to do it doesn't mean you should.
So my background, one of the co-founders of Noterro. I was also in the therapy space for just over 20 years.
My name's Ryan. I'm a technical co-founder here at Noterro. I've been in software since the early 2000s.
I have been a practicing massage therapist going on 6 years. I've been in technology myself, in corporate for going on about 8 years, 9 years as well, working inside of product management, AI, anything with technology, really.
So as I alluded to, I'm a bit of a dinosaur, practicing in the 80s and the 90s. If you can imagine, it was pen to paper. It's almost a shock to think of where I came from. But you compress that. Ryan was talking about how fast AI is changing everything and how fast it's just changed everything in the last couple of years. And so what's your opinion on that topic?
I've had so many conversations at this point with people, and they've either been in extreme favor or extreme disfavor of AI. And I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that a lot of individuals don't really understand how it's working or even why it's here or why it's being utilized. I mean, with the internet, whenever the internet came forward, everybody understood kind of what it was going to do, right? They could envision a future with it. And now with AI, people are having a very difficult time envisioning a future with them inside of it, with AI coexisting. And I talk to them and I say, listen, whenever the internet came forward, almost the same exact thing happened as what's happening currently with AI. Everybody freaked out. Everybody said, oh, we're going to lose our jobs. Oh, all of these just terrible things are going to happen. And now we're seeing it happen all over again. And then there were guardrails that were put up for the internet. And then it actually started being utilized. And then it started being actually integrated into our lives. I mean, at this point, I have a cell phone that I carry around with me everywhere that gets me access to this internet. And also now is allowing me access to my AI. So things are developing rapidly. And I can understand where that's scary. And I understand why a lot of people are scared. But there are pieces of this that, if used ethically, if used correctly, can actually really start to change and overhaul not just what you do day to day, but your entire life. And Ryan, feel free to chime in on that as well, if you agree or disagree there.
I mean, I'll chime in on one part, which is using AI is like can be super powerful, and you harness it the right way. You can have a lot of benefit, but also like I'm still, although I'm quite technical, I'm still very cautious, and I don't trust everything that comes back from it. I feel like you have to really balance when you intervene and when you don't, and what's worth intervening and what's not. You have to be comfortable using it, but also know when it's right to step in. And I mean, generally, I think being more cautious with it, at least when you're starting to use it more, you'll also learn a lot. You'll learn kind of, some of the imperfections that you're expected to experience with using it.
So when we're talking about AI, and now we're talking about it as it's showing up in software that we're using to run our practices, like where do you see the distinction between, AI being responsibly used in a product versus just AI in a product just for the sake of putting AI in a product?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of marketing buzz around AI that companies all over the place are using. Even in cases where it's just being branded as AI. It's just an automation. It's just a trigger or something, right up to like people actually implementing AI in ways that is possible, but not necessarily useful, which also adds noise to the whole thing. So it's like, not only is there more to deal with in terms of interpreting it, because there's all this additional noisy AI solutions, but also like it reduces the value of the parts of AI or the implementations that are actually super valuable. And then in terms of like using it responsibly, I mean, again, like it's the human in the loop in terms of like whether that's part of a chat or whether that's part of even just reading the output before doing something else with it and ensuring that you both understand it and agree with it. Even at Noterro, like we use AI across the entire company. Anything that's generated by AI, before you pass that along to another team member or another workflow or whatever, you should be agreeing with it and understanding it, and so that it doesn't make its way any further beyond you. And also, if you're doing that, then you'll be able to improve the way that your future interactions with AI work.
Ryan, you made a really good point here that I just kind of want to double down on for a second. You talked about something called human in the loop AI. And to those attendees that are out there that are listening right now, that sounds like a lot of noise to them. And I think the reason why is because people hear AI and the first thing they hear is automation, right? They think autonomous, it works on its own. One thing that I think a lot of organizations are kind of misstepping on is they are allowing it to take over and run, rather than actually having an individual that has that know-how, that has that knowledge, and actually knows how to operate within it to then put up the guardrails itself. And I think that's what's confusing a lot of people, is AI doesn't always run autonomously, right? There are guardrails put up. There are things that are there to make sure that it stays safe. There is an ethical way of using AI. And you just brought that forward, and that is human in the loop AI. And it's so important, I think, to make sure that a human is the last person that touches it, that looks through everything, that says, yes, that checks out. And I think that's where a lot of people are concerned about their own businesses too, is that there's just going to be this robot running everything for them and they don't even know what's happening. And I really personally don't see that as being the future of AI. It's not possible. I just don't think it's a feasible thing to have something that is non-living and doesn't have a functioning moral compass to being able to actually run an organization.
Interesting, because you're talking about the ethics. I mean, we're sending information out to be evaluated, and so we talked about the personal health information as well. Some of the feedback that I've had from some of our users of Noterro is that they don't trust it. I mean, there's a trust element to this AI and who's seeing and who's evaluating it, and a trust element of what's being returned as well, Ryan, because you talked about what's being returned and the human element to review it, because what's being returned is not necessarily completely accurate either. So, I mean, you guys touched on both of those things, and so I don't know how you would answer the question about trust, and how do we know if the product can be trusted, if they're just injecting AI for the sake of AI? Because some people say, I don't want to see anything with AI within my product.
Nick, you have a great point here. And this is how I respond back to that. I say, do you trust a 3-year-old to be able to do something that somebody that's 12 can do? No, you typically don't. And the reason why is because that 3-year-old doesn't quite understand how to potentially do that. AI is very new. I mean, it's new being introduced to the masses, right? I mean, we've had AI around for years and people didn't know it. And I think with time will allow people to understand and start to see that this is something that can be trusted. I mean, ultimately, a language learning model which is the LLMs that people hear about, all of these different AI tools, they're just very good at predicting the next word. That's all it is. And there's a lot of people out there that don't understand how that works. So to those individuals, I say, we're not going to trust the 3-year-old to do something that somebody that's 12, 15, 20, 25 to do, because they don't have the knowledge yet. They haven't been able to work through it. But I also understand where the reservation comes from. And it's because it's new. And that's okay. To which I say, listen, don't off it yet. Try to learn a little bit about it. Understand what it's doing. Understand why it's here. And then also start thinking about how it can help you.
So a product like Noterro, Ryan, and that has obviously AI tools embedded in it, so people understand, like, how do they work, and how is AI, when you see it within a product, how is that integration work?
I mean, within Noterro, I can't speak for other software, but I imagine it's similar. We're very intentional about where and why we implement AI. We are not of the opinion that we want to just throw it all over the place. We want to be very intentional about where we use it. They're very intentionally embedded in the product in certain situations, charting being one of them. So like our AI scribe that listens to what you're saying, and not just what you're saying, but also what you mean in the things that you don't necessarily directly say. This runs within Noterro. This is all within our private implementation and infrastructure. We're able to use that to interpret what you're saying, doing it securely, privately, ensuring that any information that is put into it or returned from it is ephemeral. It's not retained. We don't keep it. We don't train on it, neither the inputs or the outputs, and ensuring that it's always done in a compliant way.
Yeah, it sounds like it's really responsible what Noterro is doing, but I'm still hearing from the practitioner standpoint, AI in general, I don't trust it. So I see that badging of AI, I don't trust it, period, full stop.
So I have had people flat out say, I don't trust it. And whenever I ask them why, they don't really have a clear answer on that. They just say, I just don't trust it. So my additional clarification question on that is, okay, do you just not trust it because it's not you doing it? And that tends to be the answer. And what Ryan was saying earlier is that is exactly what needs to be happening inside of AI, which is the human piece of it. Guys, AI is not here to do your job for you. It's just not. AI cannot do what a human can do. It's just not possible. We do have to make sure that we are the ones that are consistently checking it. With all of that being said, Nick, whenever people come to me and they say, I just don't trust it, I ask them why. And if their answer is, I just simply don't trust it, I tell everybody, I need you to dig a little bit deeper to understand. Because if we don't understand why we're not trusting something, then we're not going to be able to actually ever let it in. There's no acceptance of this piece. And I've told a lot of people, I said, listen, AI is here. It is here to stay. It is not going to go anywhere. It's just not. Some people wish it would. Occasionally, I wish it would, right? I don't like being in those round robin phone calls of me trying to say representative 500 times, but that's where we're at. So I've told a lot of people, we either one need to accept it and move forward with it, or you need to just not utilize it at all. But now you risk the possibility of becoming obsolete. So with that automation piece, Ryan, you were bringing something up earlier too. A lot of companies are just slapping this in here. I have a lot of people ask me, how do I decide if this is actual true AI or if this is just automation? How is Noterro or other organizations, or how would you advise somebody from a technical perspective? What should they look for in those pieces?
Yeah, I mean, if it's just a matter of some fixed criteria to say on a schedule or when something happens, go do something, and no part of that process has any subjective nature to it, or if you were to do it over and over and over again, you'd get the exact same result every time, that the odds are it's not using, it may not be using AI, or there's a good chance it's not. I mean, at the end of the day, really, you have to just see what works for you. And just see past the marketing fluff that comes out of a lot of the overstated AI capabilities. Is it doing what you need it to do? Is it useful? There are many situations where AI is not the tool. There are many workflows and things about even the way Noterro operates that we would not use AI for that because it's not the right tool. It's too slow. We need it to be exactly the same answer every time we evaluate something. In many cases, it's like a last resort solution, or it's a solution that previously was not attainable and now it is. And so now it's on the table for something that can be solved. And that's why I think there's a lot of noise in AI is that AI has opened up opportunities to do things that previously were not possible. But just because it's possible to do it doesn't mean you should. And that's why, we're not, we've had so many conversations about different things that we could build, or we see even other products doing that, like, don't seem to actually benefit the user.
Move the needle.
Yeah, exactly. It's more a marketing thing. And
it is,
we're trying to just see past that. So
there's one little piece in there that you said, and it's the cost. People don't realize that this stuff comes at a cost. I mean, these requests come at a cost.
That's exactly where I was going.
They're not free. And so if you're embedding it into a product and it's not the right use case for that, the application of AI, it is coming at a cost.
And that's exactly where I was going with that too, Nick, is there's these organizations out there that are throwing AI in, and it literally could just be a chatbot that nobody is ever going to use. Right. But they're going to throw it in there anyways. And now at that point, the price for your monthly subscription or whatever it is has now gone up $20 just because they've thrown AI into there.
The reason why you see like a lot of products have credit-based systems, like Noterro has credit-based usage-based billing for it, because the costs of, like, say, having a calendar, for example, the actual computing cost of that is nowhere near the cost of consuming tons and tons of AI tokens. It's so easy to very quickly consume a lot of computing resources. And so it's on a completely different scale than like just running a computer. And so as a result of that, power users or people that use a lot of it will consume a lot of costs. Somebody has to pay the bill. And,
it's true.
And that's where like choosing the right tool is important, is because if you can solve a problem without using AI, or you can solve it with AI, and the results are the same, you would solve that without AI because it's just way more economical and easier to maintain.
If a practitioner wanted to try one AI tool this month without overhauling anything, where would you tell them to start?
I started with ChatGPT. That's where I started. And I've kind of graduated to Claude at this point. But the thing is they all do different things. So honestly, at this point, try using Google's AI. Actually, I think that's going to be my answer right now. That's going to be my answer. Google now has like their AI search built in. And I've actually been experimenting with it a lot. It's been a great way for me to learn how to get information.
A lot of people started with ChatGPT because they were the ones that started this whole, wave of generative AI chat and all that. So naturally, a lot of people started there. I think, like similar to what Bradley says, there's no specific product, whether you use any of the major frontiers. Just starting to use it casually without feeling like you need to achieve anything other than time with using it, and also ask it to ask you clarifying questions. So say, I want to do X. Write me the prompt and ask me any clarifying questions to make the best prompt that I can use and save and use going forward. And honestly, that alone, just insert all the situations that you want to solve for. That's a very scalable approach to solving a problem.